Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast. Special Wednesday show. I was out of town for work, so we didn't get to do the whole Monday thing, which allowed a couple of folks to watch the rest of the Raw after WrestleMania. I will be interested to get Tom's take on that, as I had not partaken yet. Um, WrestleMania was a thing. The Hall of Fame was a thing. And I don't know if you guys heard, but somebody bought WWE. So we got some stuff to talk about. And yeah, Derek's not here. We don't know if Derek's coming. We don't feel like Derek's coming, so we're not even gonna play the game. Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Waffle. Walt's on a phone call, so I'm going to tell a terrible story. I opened a beer, and that like this much. I haven't had a drink of this yet, and this much came out of it already. It spilled. It like so. I don't know who shook these beers. It wasn't me, but it's pretty annoying. And I hate that. It's a bad thing. So don't overcarbonate your beer. Don't shake your beers. It stinks. Breaking news: Jay White is all elite, and he beat up Ricky Starks. That's all we got. But apparently, Jay White has not signed with WWE, as was initially hoped for by the WWE fan base, and he has signed with All Elite Wrestling, which is where all his buddies are, Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page, and there's probably some other guys named Adam who work there that are friends with Jay White, and Kenny Omega, of course, and the not so young Bucks. So Switchblade, Jay White. It's now AEW is now pretty much the whole new Bullet Club. We're missing a few members.
I mean, you had to believe that he was going to end up there, right? Like, I think that a small group of us were hoping that he would make it to WWE, because I think that some of the matches that are available for him there are awesome, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, all of his buddies are over at AEW, and I guess he must just be content with getting paid a buttload of money to get lost in the shuffle like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, at least, for his sake, he'll be his friends are EVPs. So I don't know how much that's going to be, but at least he'll probably end up in a few segments with some of them. I don't know that he's got the dream matches in AEW that we maybe, because I think he's faced pretty much all those guys already, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, he definitely has had a feud with Adam Cole. He's definitely already had a feud with Kenny Omega and the Bucks and at Hangman. And I mean, he's done all that. So, to get to do it, if he does it again on AEW television, I'm not going to come out and be like, oh man, he's a game changer. That's not true, but he's certainly at the very least it's somebody who is not necessarily. I think he fits well, and he's somebody like when Malachi Black went to something like that. Like it's somebody who I would be excited to see on AEW television. So I guess that's a good thing for them. They haven't really had a signing, I guess, since Samoa Joe. That was really anybody who I'm like, oh yeah, I like that guy. I want to see more of that guy on TV.
Because I think that they've been really kind of just trying to focus on what they have. I mean, they got to figure out what that looks like, right? I mean, they don't have any idea what they're doing right now. So,
I still don't think they really have any idea what they're doing right now. They had Best Friends and Orange Cassidy go against the House of Black for the trios titles pretty much out of nowhere. And House of Black retained. So, whatever. Randomly thrown together matches seem to be their thing. They really need to get some storylines and some booking, because just random exhibition matches sure don't feel exciting to watch anymore. Like, every now and then, I guess that's fine, but that's basically the whole show. It's like there's maybe one very thin AEW storyline going on that they jump on, but that's it. But this was not the week of AEW. It was not.
No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact, this was all WWE week, right? WrestleMania week is the wildest week in all of pro wrestling. It starts on Monday with Raw. And then you obviously got NXT, you got SmackDown, you got the Hall of Fame, you've got and then go into the WrestleMania things. Plus, we had a bang up Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really good week here, on the home front as far as pro wrestling concerned.
Stand and Deliver was really good. I don't know how much I like some of the outcomes of the matches, but
I think I'm pumped that Carmelo Hayes beat Braun Breaker.
No, I like that. The Indy Hartwell doesn't really make sense to me as champ, but
yeah, but it gave us Index back, so there's that.
Give us Index back. Are they moving Dex back down?
They've not done anything with him other than that little bit with the Miz on the main roster.
And he hangs out with Johnny Gargano still, so I don't know. But Johnny was on Stand and Deliver too. So it was cool. I like the throwback for that for me was good. Man, what a weekend. Do you just want to talk about WrestleMania? Because I feel like otherwise we're going to be here for. SmackDown was. I don't know. It was almost a waste of 2 hours to be. If I'm being honest.
They did they did what they needed to do to set the table for the weekend, right?
Yeah. The pre-show.
And I think that's where we're at. So, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, you get into WrestleMania weekend. Man, what a great 2 nights of action. Saturday night and Sunday night were 2 completely different shows.
Sunday night was a little bit cursed, but we'll get there, I guess.
Yep. On night, on paper, you look at it and Sunday's the better day, right?
Yeah.
But once you get out there and you see it and it takes shape, Saturday was far and away the better show.
Like I said, I think you're right. On paper, Sunday was a better card. But there were a lot of injuries and a lot of things happened that it was kind of a cursed Sunday, right? Like there were sort of 3 things that happened in kind of rapid succession that really held up the show and kind of were big stumbles on Sunday. Do we want to talk about those first?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So Sunday, I think really the 3 big stumbles is one, during that women's tag match, something happened to Shayna. Obviously, she's standing there limping around in a ring without a boot on at the end.
Absolutely.
So something happened to Shayna, and that was kind of almost off the gate. That was like the second match. Brock versus Omos was exactly what I expected it to be. Exactly what I expected it to be. Omos stood in that little. I went over to our buddy Adam's house and I watched it with Adam, and Omos stood in that little square in the dead center of the circle, in the dead center of the ring the whole time. Hit his couple of Omos moves that he has. Brock sold for him. And
Brock bumped his ass off for him.
What are you
talking about?
Brock moved a lot bumping. Omos did not move much. When he did move, he hit Brock in the corner and then walked himself right back to the middle of the ring. And then Brock hit the F5, and that was that. Which was, that's all I expected out of it. It was better than Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think it was any good, but it was better than that. So it was what I expected. But then we went to the women's. I don't know what happened, but I know Shayna was hurt. Ronda was kind of too hurt to actually wrestle. Like, she wasn't actually cleared to wrestle, so she didn't really do anything, but she had to finish the match because Shayna was hurt. They were going to do some kind of tag team move, I suppose. I heard, but basically Ronda just had to throw on the armbar and tap, 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 and that was it. I mean, that match was a mess anyway.
No, absolutely.
It was going to be a mess going in. It was the pee break match. It was the get your tall boy beer match. Buy a shot while you're at it. It was that match. It all the people that went and did that and stood in those lines, they didn't miss shit. Because nothing's going to come from this, and there was no reason for it. So,
well, no, that was a women's tag team championship eliminator, I believe.
No, it was a showcase. It was a showcase. It leaves nothing to. I mean, maybe they'll get a shot still. That's possible. But Ronda's not cleared to wrestle, and Shayna's probably hurt now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
But I mean, she was limping around and didn't have a boot on at the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but something with her foot, ankle area. That's all I got. And then, shortly after that, you get to Shane McMahon comes out. Here comes the money. Foo, 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 foo. Comes out.
39 seconds later.
39 seconds later, goes to do a leapfrog, blows his quad.
Hey, kudos to Snoop Dogg.
Right?
Right.
Miz ran around him and then started doing this. Like, oh, Shane's going to get up, right? It's going to be okay. And then he didn't. And we didn't see Shane again. Kudos to Miz too a little bit for looking like there's still a fight.
Yep.
And then Snoop Dogg jumped in and according to Triple H, really just was like, nah, this isn't it. Threw what looked like some stiff as hell punches.
Fuck yeah.
Punched the Miz in the face for real. And gave him the stiffest people's elbow I've seen ever.
But I mean, Snoop's only like 140 pounds soaking wet. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Miz is fine. But I don't know that he saved the segment. It was still clearly a massive proud, and Shane blew his quad. There was video on Twitter or on the internet of Shane, being helped out. Quad gone. He's gonna have to get surgery now. I mean, he just fucked his life up for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Just to show up and do nothing, man.
Absolutely. And then Finn Balor gets busted open.
And then Finn took a ladder all the way to the. If you watched it back in slow motion, they played it in slow motion a few times. Yep. His hands went through the rungs, and he took it right in the head. Like he was looking up, and he came up with his hands.
To me, it looked like he hit the bottom portion of it a little bit, and it made it tumble over because it went clear whack up here.
Yeah, he was split like a. But I mean, kudos to Edge for running out there and
Is it really kudos to Edge though? Can we talk about this? Because I've got some thoughts.
We can, but so I mean, Edge went out and did stuff. But
I've got some thoughts.
All right, you tell me your thoughts about Edge.
So,
and I'll tell you what I think they should have done.
Did we really have to stop the match for that?
So I think the answer to that question is yes. However, I think there's a better way to do it. And I think what they should have done is they should have had the announcer say, the referee has paused this match due to, blood or injury to Finn Balor. And, we're going to see if, medical personnel is going to see if he's able to continue. Right. Because, I mean, the people booed anyway, right? And then you have that and you give it a minute and then you say, you have the announcer come back on, it was only a minute or two. You have the announcer come back a minute or two later and say, if they have to say, due to injury, the referee has called off this match, yada, yada, whatever, they're going to boo anyway. But luckily, that's not what happened. Then you come out and you have the announcer say, based on what happened, despite the doctor's, the doctor's wishes, Finn Balor wants to continue the match. And, then you get a pop for that.
Yeah, I guess that would have worked. But at the same point in time, Bud, like, I look at it from this perspective, okay? And, like, I get that it's 2023 and, like, it's not what it was back in 99, 2000, whatever.
Well, I mean, even last year, if you think about during the Rumble, Beth Phoenix had the same thing. It was busted wide open. And if you remember, she's bleeding into her bleached blonde hair, and it was turning redder as the Rumble went on. Almost the same exact injury. I think Beth's was a little further back, but almost the same exact thing. And Beth didn't get stapled up. She just had enough hair to soak the blood in, and it just
right.
red.
I mean, kudos to the medical staff. Kudos to Finn Balor for getting stapled right in the ring there.
Right. I mean, tough. That's tough as nails right there. And Finn Balor is tough as nails. Remember when he won the Universal Championship? He popped his own shoulder back in like 4 times.
I just felt like they dropped the ball with that. From the standpoint of, this is Hell in a Cell. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, this is the blow off of a year-long feud.
Yeah.
Between Edge and the Judgment Day. And, like, bummer, my man got his head split open. And like I said, kudos to them. They got it taken care of. We got the match fucking taken care of. We got the match back on the rails. And for what it was actually a decent little outing.
Yeah,
right?
They did fine. It was a good match. For what it was, yeah, they did a good job.
I just feel like Hell in a Cell, you've got to expect that kind of shit's going to happen. And you've just got to let it run. You've got to let it happen. I mean, he's cut open, what was it, like 12 minutes into the match, we'll call it?
Yeah.
12 minutes into like a 26-minute thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost 4 minutes in the middle there. I think let's not go 26 to 28 minutes. Let's go 18 minutes and let's just let it happen. Plop some goop on there and call it a day.
Maybe.
Let's go home.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, obviously, we're not medical personnel. We weren't there to look at the cut. Looked pretty nasty after.
It did look. I'm not. Listen, and I don't want to sound like I'm being inconsiderate here at all. I just, from the standpoint of the suspension of your belief, of disbelief, whatever. It's kind of hard for me to look at it from that perspective. If I don't know, I guess they jump in and in a UFC fight, if it cuts too bad, but I don't know.
I feel like could it have been done better? Yes, I think absolutely. The fact that they continued anyway, I think is pretty cool. So, that wasn't. I mean, I don't think it was the worst outcome of it. Obviously, I mean, it was better than what happened to Shane, and the whole match itself was better than that mess of a tag team women's match that also ended in injury and weirdness. But that's, I mean, those 3 segments really kind of like were big stumbles, I feel like, for night 2. And I don't know that they were anybody's fault necessarily, or that anything was like booked wrong or bad or anything like that. But
nah, night 2 was just snake bitten, bro.
It was. You're right. I mean, it was snake bit. It was just, they got through the night without any further incidents after that, which was good. But man, it was a rough go up to that point. And I mean, I guess that's what live wrestling is. And I think WWE's done a really good job of not having those sorts of like incidents and things for a long time. I guess they were due, and it just boom, freak things kind of, because these were not things. These are spots you see. I mean, Shane blew his quad on a leapfrog. Shane does a leapfrog every time he's in the ring. And that, so, and I don't know what happened to Shayna. I don't know if she tripped or just, she's older than we are. So like, I don't know about you, but sometimes my ankle it wants to turn. Maybe she just did it. We're of that age now that, a turned ankle is not the most uncommon thing. So, just snake bit for the night. It wasn't that anybody was doing anything particularly dangerous. Speaking of things that were particularly dangerous, before we get into the meat and potatoes of WrestleMania, poor Dante Martin on Friday.
Yeah, man.
Saturday. Was that Saturday or Friday?
Buddy. I think it was on Friday.
I think it was Friday. I mean, I don't know what they expected that outcome to be. But I guess he snapped his leg or his ankle or whatever. It very well could have been. You know what that reminded me of? Do you remember we were playing travel soccer? Ben slide tackled that kid, and that kid's ankle came up all flapping. Yeah. It was exactly like that. His ankle was only still attached because there was a high boot on. It was otherwise just skin.
Yes.
It was because his foot went the other way.
And
broke.
So here's another thing, right? Like those two guys are hurt an awful lot.
You mean what's their name? Yeah,
Dante and Darius.
Top Flight. Yeah.
Top Flight.
Yeah. I mean, it's because they do stupid shit. I mean, they get involved in those spots, and I mean, if you go back and look at it, they had ladders and tables stacked up in a Lincoln Logs kind of like scaffolding. I mean, I didn't watch the match in its entirety, but I don't know how they built that. But I don't know, after watching it a few times, I don't know what they expected to happen, right? Because there was no good way to land.
There's nothing good's coming out of that.
Like the way it was set up, it was like there's no crash pad, there's no like the tables are too close, they're bumped up, like there's no. So, and just the way physics works, it's like, okay, he's turning and you're falling 15 or like you're falling a long way and he's going to keep turning. And like, I mean, I guess it's better than him continuing to turn and landing on his head and snapping his neck or something and just being paralyzed or dead. But yeah. I mean, he fell forever and then landed on his feet, sort of. And that's just snapped under because there was no footing to be had. There were tables and chairs and broken shit everywhere. I don't know what the expected outcome was, but that was probably the best outcome.
Well, I mean, and then you've got Finn Balor that just does a coup de grace through a table, like 2 nights later, with a busted head.
But that, truthfully, that didn't look. I mean. We've seen that spot before, but and all of that seemed like pre-set up. Like, we understand how this is going to work. I'm going to go through this table. I'm going to land fine. Nothing's going to happen. Plus, Balor's already got like sort of shin, like Balor's boots and the way he's got everything. Like he's already, because of the way the coup de grace does, he's reinforced there. He's got shin guards. He's got, there's a brace in there. Because he wrestles in the wrestling boots with that additional brace with the guards there. So, he can land and take those, and he's got reinforcement. He's got stuff there so that his ankle doesn't. I don't know what's in Dante Martin's boots, but whatever it is.
I'll tell you what's not in Dante Martin's boots, a fucking ankle bone.
Man, or like a leg. I mean, I think honestly, I'm kind of thinking it wasn't an ankle. I think it was maybe like a high, like a what tibia and your fibia. I think those look broke. That looked because it looked broken, like kind of
shattered.
Yeah, like between the knee and the ankle. It looked like it snapped there. Man, that was just it's brutal. And I don't, like I said, they just got to stop doing. I mean, I feel like we say this every week because somebody gets goddamn hurt or something, or somebody almost gets hurt. They got to stop with these spots like this. Like, this is not good for the longevity of, Dante Martin's got a very promising career ahead of him.
Yeah.
I mean,
24, 25.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, hopefully he comes back and can wrestle again and can recover from this. But like, it seems like he's only in ever 6 months a year because he's out hurt the other 6 months because he tore a ligament or ripped something or broke his leg, shattered his leg into a million pieces.
Darius just got back from an ACL.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to think about these guys' careers. I know they're trying to get over, but I don't know that you have to do this to get over. I don't know that this is the way. If it is,
it is in 2023. That's what everybody wants to see. That's why AEW is the way that it is.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not even like. This wasn't even on like the big AEW pay-per-view either. This was a Ring of Honor pay-per-view that I can't imagine that buy rate was great for that. I
don't know.
I mean, I didn't see numbers or anything, so I don't know. But I can't imagine that buy rate was great. And it's not like this was some sort of main event title match for like all the marbles or anything. Like this was just a match on the card, right?
Yeah.
No, none of these people are.
No, that was for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship.
Oh, right. It was the ladder match for that. It's MJF Day, everybody. Congrats, MJF. Man,
so
I don't know.
What's up with Derek just shitting all over Edge's entrance? I didn't think it was. I
thought it was good. I liked it. I mean, I don't know why he was brewed Edge. I mean, one, they played Slayer, which I'm happy about. Play more Slayer.
Yeah. Corey Graves even said, things I never thought I'd have on my bingo card. Slayer at WrestleMania.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, it was great.
So play more Slayer. I love that mask. That mirrored skull mask. I thought that was cool as hell. I don't know
what I didn't. You know what I didn't understand about it though? Like Finn Balor's been wearing masks, like that to the ring for pay-per-views. Yeah. And I was like, oh, why did you do that? Like, that was the first thing that came to mind, right? I do agree with Derek, however, though, that Finn Balor forgot how to demon. I do believe that.
Remember when the demon was unbeatable? I feel like the demon only gets brought out to get beat now. Like, Finn wins pretty regularly. If you look at his, like, win-loss record, like, even as a heel, I mean, he still wins almost 50% of the time.
Yeah.
But the last 3 demon appearances were losses.
Yeah.
So
I was really looking forward to the Judgment Day version, and I don't think it disappointed. Like, it looked cool. The visual was there. So but I mean, night one, dude, let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about the.
Well, let's kind of go through night one then, because do you have a card up for night one?
I don't have the card up for night one, but I know mostly where we're at. We kicked off WrestleMania with John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship in a losing effort for the GOAT, Mr. Cena, because Austin Theory could in fact see him.
He could see him. So I thought that match that was rough. That was a rough match. I didn't think it was very good. That did not start the night off with the bang that I had hoped.
What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like the ref bump with the low blow. I didn't like that.
See, I didn't really have that much of a problem with that.
I didn't like. I don't know. Cena didn't look like he'd looked better the last couple times we saw him. Cena didn't look great. I think he's starting to feel his age. And
do you think that was it for him?
Man, I don't know, but if it is, I think I understand. I mean,
after all, he's going to be Ken in the new Barbie live action movie.
There's like a bunch of Kens, but yeah. Have you seen that trailer? That's like the trailer's disturbing. Like,
is that the movie that he's dressing up in heels and skirts for?
What?
Have you not seen the picture of him on the internet in heels and skirts?
I have seen that. Is that from the Barbie movie?
I don't know. It's from some film project that he's working on.
I've seen the Barbie movie trailer, and it's a little bit aqua. like the Barbie girl song. It's a little like everybody's acting a little stiff and plastic, which I guess I get it. It's the gimmick, but it's weird. It's weird.
Sounds
but yeah,
weird.
I was not the fan. I was not the biggest fan of that match. I would say that was one of the lesser. That was certainly one of the lesser matches on the card. And then we got into Charlotte versus Rhea, though.
Yes.
Which was
no, we didn't. It wasn't next. It's just next on the lineup that you're reading,
you're
but
right.
it wasn't.
No, because you're right.
Because it was Seth and no, it was Damage Control versus Becky Lynch, Lita.
That was better. You're right. That was better
Trish.
than I thought it was going to be. Although you and I were discussing during that night, Lita had lost quite a few steps.
Yeah, and I had mentioned that when she made her return at that Saudi show, we had talked about it, and it didn't really get any better.
No.
I mean, despite the fact that she's now a tag team champion, I mean, the moonsault looked good. It was poppy and crispy. But like just her getting around the ring didn't look great. And some of their planned spots, you could see some timing issues.
Well, also she went. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna see poetry in motion." No. Big abandon on the poetry in motion.
Yeah.
She just kind of like stepped off a Trish and went, It was real bad. It looked like you or I tried to do a poetry in motion.
I mean, I thought Trish looked pretty good.
Trish didn't do much, but she did the thing where they held her up and she did her like her handstand. It's not really a Hurricane Rana, but kind of like leg grab flippy do thing. Which I thought was good. Becky and Damage Control really, they really carried that match. Becky was in that match for 75% of it, for that team, and Damage Control really sold their asses off, even when particularly when Trish didn't have anything worthwhile to do as far as, or not Trish, but Lita had nothing worthwhile to do as far as offense is concerned. So it was better. I think they covered up as best as they could. The four actual day-to-day wrestlers. Trish's spots went off just fine. I think they expected Lita to be able to do more. She wasn't up for it, clearly. It's unfortunate. I don't know why they would have assumed she was up for it, if I'm being honest and fair about it. But it is what it is at this point. But it wasn't the worst. Then I think we got into Austin Theory and Seth. Was
Logan Paul and Seth.
Logan Paul and Seth.
Yeah. Which, if I'm being honest, it wasn't the best Logan Paul outing that I've seen to date.
No, his match with Roman was better, but I thought it was very. I still thought it was good. I didn't have a problem with it. I really liked the spot at the end where Logan was going to jump off and go like he did to Roman, and Seth pulled the what's his face in the prime.
Oh, KSI
in the prime suit on. I like that spot. That was a good spot. Clearly it was the spot they had worked on. Went great.
Well, yeah, because it was fucking free advertising for Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought that spot went great.
And you know what? In hindsight, knowing what we know now, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that match as sort of the like.
Well, because Prime is the official sports drink of the UFC. So knowing what we know now.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I think that match went off pretty well.
So let's get to the elephant in the room with Damage Control, since we've kind of
let's talk about that.
Lots and lots
Am I froze or are you froze? Is it me? Walter, are you there? Uh-oh. Did I froze or are you froze? I think it's you that froze. Oh, no. The storm has hit Walter. He's frozen. He's frozen solid. Oh, no. Oh, no. Uh-oh. This has been a long freeze. Oh, he's gone. Now it's just me. Okay. So, I think what Walter's trying to say is that Damage Control might be on its way out based on what based on what Bailey had to say on the Twitter machine. It seems like Bailey is pretty upset about how Damage Control was treated at WrestleMania, and then subsequently Bailey particularly treated on Monday. She was supposed to go out with her Damage Control brethren when they had their little match, although as short as it was. And then she was not. There was an audible called, and there was no Bailey to go out to the ring. So Bailey tweeted something like, "Well, maybe this is it, or maybe maybe we got to move on, or whatever. Goodbye, or whatever Bailey had said on Twitter." And she basically said her goodbyes. I am not. I kind of don't believe that. I kind of believe that she's in kayfabe doing this. I don't think that's necessarily the I don't think that's necessarily the end of Bailey nor Damage Control, but I think we'll see. I don't know what the future holds for it. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm sure Walt and I will talk about what happened. Walt lost power, by the way. We're about to get some storms here in the area. I guess Walt got them before I did, but we're about to get some wind and thunder, some thunder, and I don't know. I don't think this whole Damage Control thing has been working particularly well anyway. So if it gets scrapped and then Bailey gets mad and leaves because of it, I don't know that I could see that. I don't know that it's necessarily over. I think it might, and I think we had all talked about this before, that it might just be time to let Damage Control all go their separate ways. Let Bailey do a thing as a solo star. I think Bailey solo is fantastic. And, I think you could insert Bailey, and I've said this many times, in a main event picture immediately, and nothing's wrong with it. You could immediately put Bailey. You could probably put her as a face. You could just have her turn face and go against Rhea almost immediately, I think. You'd have to kind of work on that face turn a little bit, maybe make her a tweener or something. But I think she would be a great opponent for Rhea. And I think you could get a lot of good mileage out of that real fast, because we've not seen Bailey versus Rhea. And, so I think that might be something particularly worthwhile to look at. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the end of Damage Control. I don't know if they're all going to quit and like walk off or whatever. I don't think that, there's necessarily greener pastures over in AEW or in New Japan Pro Wrestling or anything like that. I don't necessarily believe that. For a faction that has been featured so heavily week in, week out on television and had, really week in, week out storylines and promos and segment time and everything like that. I don't know that to just throw it all away just because of one Monday Night Raw rewrite, that seems like a little bit much to me. If I'm being completely honest, it seems like a little bit much. If we're talking 2-3 months down the line, and they're still getting brushed under the rug, or if they're like, oh, creative has nothing for you for a month or 2 months or whatever, maybe then it's time to reassess your situation in life and your lot in life. But, to have a sort of main card not title, but, they carried titles for a long time. And then to have a main card WrestleMania feud that went for months and months and months and finally, you know, sort of ended up on the main card. I don't think throwing away Damage Control after one sort of fucked up Raw where they all kind of get tossed out is, or, you know, where in it kind of looks, you know, it ends up being a segment that is just sort of, you know, cut quickly.
Yeah,
and
but I'm not even talking about that, Bub. Like, I'm talking about Bailey's tweet and
yeah,
you know, like then there's all the rumors hit the interwebs that she requested her release. I mean, I just there's a lot of what ifs surrounding Bailey and her future.
So I don't
with
believe that right
WWE.
now, and I think it's a little too quick to assume those things. I mean, I come in here and I put Bailey over every week, and I still think Bailey's, you know, you could on Friday they could put her into they could turn her tweener and put her into a feud with Rhea, and everybody would buy it, and it would be a great feud for Rhea. And I think that
could be a fantastic feud for Rhea.
I think that could happen as soon as Friday. Maybe, you know, maybe turn her this week, maybe break up Damage Control, turn Bailey this week, and then have her start feuding with Rhea next week. I think it could be that fast, you know. So I don't necessarily believe any of that yet. We'll see. You know, I'm not saying it's a no. Clearly, she had a bad Monday. Her Saturday wasn't great either, and this was one of the more lackluster feuds. I will say I wasn't looking forward to it, but it wasn't the worst match on the card by, you know, a few matches. Even on Saturday, it wasn't the worst match.
No, I didn't think it was the worst match at all. I thought it was a good showing by those guys. I'm just saying,
it was fine, and you know, but now it's done and it's over with, and it's time to build something new for them. And if that's the end of Damage Control, then fine. You know, do something good with all of them, because I think they're all very, very talented. I don't think that, you know, between Saturday and Monday, enough happened to warrant like, nope, I'm done, I quit. Throw your hands up. I just don't think enough happened. You know what I mean? I think everybody needs some time to breathe. I think everybody needs some time to think about it. Shit, take a vacation, take a week off. Go to Charlotte. That's what Charlotte did. You know, Charlotte was like, all right, we're out. We're going to Hawaii. See you guys in a couple weeks. She's out after WrestleMania. And good for her. You know, I think a lot of people need to do that. And a lot of them hadn't been home in a long time, maybe a week or two. Mia Yim had said something. So I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think there's a lot of weird, bad rumors going along through the dirt sheets right now. The dirt sheet writers are currently ready to punch each other in the face. So, you know,
too many lines have been crossed, man.
I kind of don't believe anybody right now. You know what I mean? Like I kind of don't really believe anybody right now. So I think time will tell, but I'm sort of the disbelief in anybody right now. What was after? So what was after? Where were we? Oh, now we're at Charlotte versus Rhea, right? That was the next match on the card, I believe.
Yup.
What a good match! What a good match!
Fantastic.
What a good! Holy crap! Did that? Wow, was that? I mean, it was stiff. Man, they worked. Oh wow, was that? They worked. What good opponents they were. That was.
Listen, I'm gonna say this, and I mean this with the utmost love and respect. All right, this is just me being me. Them bitches stole the fucking show, bro.
I think so too. I really was into this match. I hung on everything. They hit each other hard. The whole thing. They did a great job telling a story. It looked like a fight. It was vicious. It made sense. Man, was it good. I mean, we got peak Charlotte and we got peak Rhea. Right. I mean,
you could tell that Charlotte Flair was so excited for Rhea Ripley.
She was
to have that moment and to have that opportunity to pick the ball up and run with it.
She was, and you know, I think Charlotte went out there and just Charlotte's 37 now. She's almost our age, man. Like she's a little.
But I mean, you got Sting out there at 63 still doing the damn thing.
I realize that. I'm just saying that, like, you know. they're both still very much in their prime. Charlotte's still very much in her prime, but Charlotte's towards the end of her prime at this point. But she was out there as prime Charlotte Flair.
I gotta feel like maybe she's gonna want kids someday, right? Like,
that's my other thing too. And that's a good point to bring up, because they had brought up that Charlotte's taken a little bit of a break. My first thought was, well, her last break was to get married. They got a house. They got settled. They did all that. Is this next break just sort of a short break to go on vacation? Or is
she the new Brock Lesnar and she's just going to come and go as she pleases?
Maybe. Or is she going to try to have a kid while she still can?
Yeah.
She, at 37 years old, it's time to sort of put up or shut up when having kids later than that is, becomes problematic.
Yes.
Certainly can. So at this point, I had thought that, obviously nobody had announced anything particular one way or the other, whether or not that's the case. But, I mean, if you're going to do it, no better time than the present, especially right now.
I agree.
You dropped the title. You did a good job. You got a feud through. It went over good. And it was a good, clean end to it, right? No nice break, no hanging chads. Just a nice, clean. And it's like, all right, Rhea, it's your time. Take this ball and run with it. And I think Rhea certainly is going to, and certainly can. I think, she's the future of the women's division by far. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Between her and Bianca Belair, she's the future. They're the future. And, I think that the future is in good hands. They're very capable, very over, and very good. Like, literally, Rhea particularly, I feel like
the crowd came alive on Saturday night when those two were in that ring.
They were, and they wanted to see a title change. They wanted to see Rhea win.
Yes,
and they got it. That pop was big. It was a good pop. And yeah, really, really enjoyed it. I think after that was Ray versus Dominic. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Or no? Did we miss Braun and Ricochet and Street Profits? That was in there somewhere.
Yeah, that was the second match of the night.
Okay, it was so fast.
Yeah, and it was a WrestleMania showcase. It was a chance for those guys to get a payday.
Yeah, it was whatever. Not worth talking about. But yeah, then we got Ray versus Dominic, which the crowd was also unhinged for. What a good feud this has been. What a good feud that was. I don't know if I agree with Ray coming out on top though. I don't
think that was the right decision at all.
I mean, I guess that's the feel good WrestleMania moment and him getting, but I feel like, if Dominic would have run, but Ray still would have spanked him with the belt, I think that the crowd would have been just as happy. You know what I mean? And yep. I think it would have given Dom the rub, and kind of maybe set Dom up for, for future stuff. Today's Dom's birthday, actually. Happy birthday, Dominic Gutierrez. Dominic Mysterio is 26 years old today. Although Twitter said he was 35, and I was like, no, he's not. Ray's only 47. You telling me or 48? You telling me Ray had him when he was 13 years old? That's not that math doesn't add up here, people. But no, Dominic is 26 today, so happy birthday to Dom.
Happy birthday, Dom.
What a great match, though. What a hell of a WrestleMania show. Like, Dominic Mysterio has improved. I mean, if you think about where he was a few years ago, when he and Ray were the tag team champions, and that was like their thing, like he was green as hell. Dom works a ring now like a proper veteran heel now. Like, he gets the heat. I mean, his mic skills. God, he can barely touch. I mean, when he touches a microphone, like, it's not go away heat. The people want to see him get his face punched in.
Absolutely.
He's so goddamn good at that. And I mean, he has really come into his own, like, where his dad has never been a heel.
Never.
He is such a good heel. I mean, what a tremendous heel. And I think really, Dom's got a bright future ahead of him if he can kind of keep this momentum and continue to evolve his character maybe be a babyface sometimes, maybe be a heel sometimes. But if he can continue on the trajectory that he's on, he's going to have just as good of a career as his father had.
I agree.
I hate to say that, I don't want to say like, oh, it'll be better. I don't think it could be better.
But here's the thing, the question that I have, right? Here's the question that I have. Is he able to maintain this level of heel post dad feud?
I think in a group, he certainly could. But I don't know. We'll see. I think that's really the next test. Because Ray is such a good babyface, right? Like of greatest babyfaces of all time, Ray's up there. He's certainly one of them. Deathless Dog says Scumbag Dom is fantastic. It really is, because it's like, even at home, you want to pop when he gets hit, and it's like you just want to see him get smashed, and it's like, to me, that's what makes a fantastic heel, is somebody you want to see this person get what's coming to him. That's what Rick Rude used to do.
Yep.
When Rick Rude used to sell, when he would get atomic dropped, and he would, it was Rick Rude taking an atomic drop. That's kind of, to me, a good way to compare Dom's sort of heel work, is that like the crowd just erupts, and it's like, it's not like he's taking crazy bumps or anything. He didn't have to do a backflip off a ladder and snap his leg in half to get over, or to get Ray over, or to get heat or whatever. He just had to be a dick to his mom on TV. And then when he got punched in the face, that was the biggest pop I've heard still. That was a bigger pop than any pop at WrestleMania, when Ray punched Dom in the face a couple weeks ago after talking back to his mom.
Yep.
It was great.
And I think that was like the perfect way to set that up too, right? To where you get Ray to finally react, because it's like, hey, I don't give a shit like what you do to me, bud. Like I'm just not gonna fight you. But then he pie faces his sister or whatever he did with her.
He threw water in her face.
Yeah, and then tells mom to shut up. Like, that's it. And I know, as a father, that when your kids can mouth off, sometimes you gotta step in, you gotta do what's right. You know what I'm saying?
There's a I'm very much not a I don't hit my kids ever, but I would tell, if my son as an adult decided to be mean to his mother and then throw water in his sister's face, I'd probably hit him as an adult. Especially if he continued to push me. So I think that there was a lot of, I feel like the crowd had that built level of frustration with Dom as well. And that's what Dom did for weeks and weeks and weeks. They just built that frustration, right? And then finally, when it boom, and he got what was coming to him, it was great. Because Dom had been winning matches too. But yeah, I just thought, I thought the match particularly between Dom and Ray was great. You could tell they clearly have chemistry, because father and son, right? And Ray basically trained Dom. But the match itself was great. Everything was clean. The spots were clean. The spots looked good. Everybody got their stuff in. Everything made sense. Really was a good WrestleMania match. Like you and I had talked about beforehand, it wasn't really. I felt like Dom should have come out with the win at that. Like, otherwise, what do you do? Dom lost, so what do you do moving forward? It's just, Dom lost. It's like, oh, Ray won. He's the babyface. He was, I feel like Dominic winning allows him to maintain and carry his heat. Rey Mysterio is going to be over, until he doesn't wrestle anymore. And then when you see him in the crowd with a mask on, waving, as a little old man, he's still going to be over. He's still going to get huge pops. And it's one of those things where it's like, other than the final outcome, which I get as a WrestleMania match, you want to send the crowd home happy, and that's what they did, right? They sent the crowd home happy. They made the crowd happy by giving the babyface the win. Ray got a huge pop. So it was really, really good for that. Like Ray got a massive pop, and it was really what everybody wanted to see. But with Dom not winning, he now kind of doesn't have any heat anymore from all that went before. So now he's got to like get his heat back and build it back up. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. There's quite a bit left, to explore, I think, with Dom. Like you had said earlier, I think that there's something certainly to see. What's he do next, right? Can he get this level of heat? Can he get over? Can he have these caliber of matches when it's not with his father? And I think that's really the testament of time. They need to get a title on him, though. Judgment Day. Okay, Deathless Dog says Judgment Day cheating to win for him, but he acts like he did it himself and is tough. Yeah, maybe tag team titles. I think that maybe is the way, especially if they split them back up. And while Walt's on the phone, I'll talk about that. I feel like it's now finally time to talk about and figure out how to split up titles again, particularly the tag team titles, just because there's just, with everything being combined and there being so many hours of television, I really feel like there needs to be another title in play. I don't want to necessarily see Dom can't get inserted with Austin Theory right now. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. But let's say, they decided to break up the tag team championships, or like Kevin and Sammy have to relinquish the Raw championships because they're on SmackDown or whatever. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the, what the whole schmeal of it is, but like, yeah, it would be great if like Dom was a tag team champion again, maybe with, with Damian Priest. Yeah, and him beating Sammy would get the hate. Like maybe have him and Damian Priest win the tag titles with Finn Balor's sort of assistance, and have Dom get the pin. I think that'd get the heat back. But at the same time, like you got to do something, something very smart about it. And I think maybe the tag team titles, if you split them back up, that's maybe the way to go. Well, welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, all hell's breaking loose at work. I'm sorry, bub. So
it happens.
That's probably not going to be the last time that happens. So I appreciate the fact that you are able to facilitate.
Well, I watched a lot of wrestling.
Well, there was a lot of wrestling to watch.
All we got is the final match of the evening, which was the tag team championship match between, we got left of night one, which was the tag team championship match of in the main event of the evening. Although I will point out that Rhea versus Charlotte was hyped as the main event because whomever won the Royal Rumble got to main event WrestleMania, and they drilled that into our heads every night as though he was the big dog, or it's boss time, or whatever else it is.
Hey, bud, the right match went on as the main event.
It was.
I'm sorry.
Still, I get it. I'm just saying, no, you're not main eventing WrestleMania. If you win, you just get a title shot. So stop saying that. You just get the title shot.
Yeah, but still, the right match went on.
Sure,
last.
That's fine, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, don't say you get to main event WrestleMania when that's clearly not true. Anyway,
I mean, a co-main event is still a main event, bub. Like, I mean, we're just splitting hairs here. Like,
the main event is the last match that happens.
I mean, but there's still always a co-main event too, right?
Okay.
It's just as important. So, I don't have a problem with the way that this went down. I just really don't. I mean, I understand your logic, and
this tag match was incredible. This was the best. It might have been the best tag match I've ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, and there hasn't been a tag match
FTR's been in in the last 5 years.
There hasn't been a tag match that's main evented a WrestleMania since WrestleMania 1. So like
this may have been the best tag match that's ever been ever. It was so good. I couldn't find fault at all with any of this. Everything that happened in this match was so good.
It told the story, bub.
It did everything. It was everything. It was perfect. You know that the meme where it's like it was perfect, absolutely perfect. I have no criticism.
None whatsoever.
It was perfect.
Not a thing. You don't have a thing to complain about.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
432 super kicks.
I mean, that's just the people in the ring. That's their moveset.
Oh,
I mean, what do you look? I don't expect people to reinvent their own moveset for WrestleMania.
Okay. So, but if the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros were in there, you would expect them to change their moveset for WrestleMania.
No, I just expect a story to be. Look, the Young Bucks have had good matches, but this was a fight, man. This was like this was an actual fight. Like they fought each other. It was a brutal beat down fight. The end, particularly, Sammy gave him 3 haluva kicks. 3 haluva kicks. Boom. Boom. It was kicked out of the 1D. Kicked out of the 1D. Man, I popped for that. Kicking out of the 1D. That was just popped for that. I mean, it was so good. It was so good. And everything that happened from the start to the finish was great. The right team won. They showed up again on WrestleMania night to kind of come in and clear out the Usos on WrestleMania night 2. I thought that was great. I really, really was a big fan of this match, and I really think that
it was fantastic.
You're right that it was the correct. It was absolutely the correct main event, and they did the right thing, putting it on last. But as I criticized, it wasn't like they won the Royal Rumble to be the main event.
Here we go.
It just was what it was, but it was the better match on the card, and it ended up being better than even than I had anticipated, and I anticipated it being very, very good, and it was better. Super kick spam is the one thing I don't like about the Usos. If I give the Bucks crap for it, I get it. Yes, the super kick spam, not my favorite thing about the Usos, but I'm going to sound like a hypocrite for saying this, but I really feel like the Usos do it better than the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks do it because it's like, oh, you want to see a super kick? Okay, I'm going to super kick this guy. It's going to be great. When the Usos do it, it's kind of a little more spontaneous feeling, I guess. Maybe I just feel like the Usos are better, and maybe in my head it's just more legit, and that might just be a me thing, right? So to have that take place, thank you, Deathless Dogs, by the way. So to have there were a lot of super kicks. There were a lot of super kicks over the evening, and I'm not trying to throw that under the bus as a like, well, if there were anything, maybe some of those spots could have been less super kicks. Could have kicked each other a little bit less. That probably would have been a better use of everybody's time, right? A better use of the time they had. Maybe a few less super kicks. But I feel like that's splitting hairs if we're talking about just super kicks, right? Because they segued things really well with the super kicks. It made sense when they did it. Only sort of after the fact, thinking about it, it was like, wow, man, everybody really kicked each other in the face a lot. And the super kick is probably just in general way overused in wrestling. But as far as WrestleMania Night 1 is concerned, I don't think it was particularly overused over the night. And then in that match, it was used a lot. So, had everybody done it up to that point, and had it been a big, big, big point in every match up to that point, I think that would have been something different. But the fact that it was used a lot in that match but also not in matches prior for the night. I'm going to give them a pass for that. If you don't want to give them a pass for that, I understand. I get it. Feel free to be that guy, but I'm going to give them a pass for all of that. So that's my thoughts on WrestleMania Night 1. I really feel like Night 1 ended up being the better show. It wasn't like snake bit like Night 2. Unfortunately, Night 2 just had way too many just random random injuries to really get anything over. But Night 1, man, did that end the night on a bang? And love to see more okay with Super WWE allow them to get color. You kick a guy in the head 20 times. No, see, I'm not a fan of color anymore.
No, Tom's G-rated Disney movie guy. Hey, real quick, Dan, while you're here, and like this is totally more into your realm than it is mine, right? Have you had this yet?
Stonehammer?
Yes.
I mean,
Dan, let me know in the chat if you've had this yet.
So we need to get into Night 2. We can talk about whether or not Dan got into.
Yeah, we'll get there. Absolutely. We'll get into Dan having Stonehammer or not. But Night 2, like I said earlier to start the show, it was better on paper.
Snake bit.
But it was snake bit as fuck. And like I think we talked about a lot of Night 2 already, right? Like we touched on a couple of things. We touched on the Snoop Dogg Shane McMahon thing. We touched on Finn Balor and Edge.
We talked about the tag match too. We don't have to discuss those things.
Right. So let's talk about the show. The show. Oh, we talked about Brock and Omos too, which was exactly what we thought it was. And
Gunther versus Drew versus Sheamus was man, was that a good one? That delivered.
What a great show.
That delivered in every way I hoped it would deliver, and it did not disappoint. Man, did those guys. I didn't expect Gunther to retain, but I'm happy he did. I thought honestly they were going to give it to Sheamus. I figured they were going to do it, but you know what? After thinking about it, they really Night 1. We had talked about giving Ray the win, and a bunch of other everything else had with Rhea getting the win for the happiness of the fans, Sammy and Kevin getting the win. Night 1 was really the for the fans win night, and Gunther getting the win and just being I think they're really this is sort of the start of like they're really like kind of trying to make long title runs a big deal, and they've kind of got a couple going on right now, long important title runs, and this was a
they're making the IC title and the United States title fucking mean something, which I think is just fantastic, right? But I made a comment to you guys in the group chat on Sunday when Gunther won, and I said, this just tells me that Cody's winning. Now, we all know that I've been one of those guys that's been Roman Reigns is absolutely going to win this match. He can absolutely win this match. There's a case for him to win this match, but man, what a great fucking match, dude. Like, I think that I made the comment, this has been a train wreck in the best possible way.
Man, they slapped they smacked the shit out of each other. None of those guys were on Raw the next day. I hope they were all home with lots of fucking ice. Oh man, that was God, what a tremendous match. I love the whole I watched the whole thing going, oh God, oh my God, like the whole time, just like, oh, I love it. We had some non-believers in the room with us while we were watching, who were like, see, this is dumb. I was like, no, do not blaspheme in my church of intercontinental glory. This is not how this works. Man, what a good match. What a good match. I can't, usually, and I've said this before, triple threats usually to me are just like, God, fucking nobody gets over in this shit. But this made so much sense. Drew and Sheamus were pissed at each other. Sheamus pissed at Drew because how dare you fucking get in the way of my Intercontinental title run? Drew being like, fuck you, I want to win the Intercontinental title. And then Gunther being like, I'll beat both of you motherfuckers. God, the build was great. The match was great. Everybody comes out of this looking better.
No arguments here, bub.
It was the expectations were through the roof, right? And all three of those guys went out there and delivered. And we've seen plenty of, even during WrestleMania, we've seen plenty of times where nobody delivers on expectations. Yeah, just powerbomb them on each other. That was, it was just whoever booked that match, and I think they said it was like Abyss. I think it was Abyss who booked the match.
Abyss was the agent.
Abyss was the agent on that, and just top tier stuff. I mean, that's the WrestleMania caliber. This is going to be a match. This is going to be a match we talk about, right? When you go back and you talk about WrestleMania matches.
But we're talking about it right now, motherfucker.
I'm just saying, this is hey, do you remember WrestleMania 39, Drew versus Sheamus versus Gunther? That's one of those matches. It's one of those matches that we're going to bring back up. We're not bringing up those tag team showcases. We're not, we're going to forget probably, other than Edge other than Balor getting busted open and having that, we're gonna forget about all the injuries, right? We're gonna be like, oh yeah, the injuries in WrestleMania that night too. That was a big deal, but we're gonna kind of forget about that stuff. This is one that's gonna stick in the old cranium as an all time banger. And kudos to those guys. I hope they're having a lovely week. After the fact, I hope that it's lots of ice and beautiful women,
bunch of just chipped ham.
Hopefully they're being caressed lovingly by beautiful women, and they have delicious beers.
Well, I do know that Gunther's wife is just.
Yeah, I'm just saying. They absolutely put in their they're over as shit right now. All three of them came out looking better. I hope they've all got beautiful women rubbing them down and icing them back to back to health, and that they deserve nothing less. So kudos to them, and I hope to see more. I'm excited to see what comes out of this, right? Because there's now it's okay, do we have Sheamus and do we have Sheamus and Drew feud? Do they all go their separate ways and feud with new people and just be over as shit? What happens next? Whatever it is, I'm here for it. I'm in. And what else we gotta talk about the main event?
Yeah.
Roman went over after some tomfoolery. How do you feel about it?
But I hate to say that I told you so. Okay. But I'm gonna sit here, okay, and I have to do it, right? I have to do it. I told you so.
So,
but you know what? You just glossed over something that I'm really surprised that you did.
Go ahead. What did I gloss over?
Asuka versus Bianca.
Oh, come on.
Oh, what did you do, bud? That's
nothing.
2 in a row.
Nothing. It's like these things fell out of the goddamn truck.
Is that James behind you? He fucked him up or what?
That's Penny.
Is that Penny? I can't see. I don't have my glasses on there over here because they reflect off of my light no matter how high I put it.
While we do this, I'm being too loud. Anyway, I have to go get my towel again.
Okay,
you're right. I did gloss over Asuka versus Bianca. That was let's talk about that. We got to talk about that. Go ahead. Tell me.
So I thought that the match was great, right? I'm not here to say the match wasn't good. Okay, I enjoyed the match. I think that those two are fantastic performers. Asuka is just top notch when she's allowed to do what she does best, and what she does best is she performs underneath the Triple H, right? And Bianca Belair is the EST. She's the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. You know, I get all of that. Okay. And she's like a dope human being. And this cannot be said enough. The things that she does for folks, man. But I'm over the Bianca Belair, Hulk Hogan, say your prayers and eat your vitamins. Okay, I need some depth to Bianca Belair instead of girl.
Yeah. So I feel like that's her whole babyface gimmick, and she's been a babyface the whole time she's been on the main roster. I feel like she had better depth when she was a heel. I don't know that they can turn her heel in the middle of a long ass title reign, but I mean, some heel work would be tremendous from Bianca, because I agree. That was one particularly, and I'm sorry that I missed it on the card. That was one particularly that I thought Asuka was going to go over. I think they gave Asuka a new gimmick. I felt like people were tired of Bianca's run, and I don't think that we're in disagreement there. I'm still talking, by the way. I just have to get a wet wipe thing. I feel like people are over Bianca's title run at this point, and I really thought there was like, okay, we gave Asuka a new gimmick. You know, Asuka doesn't win at WrestleMania, so let's give her a win at WrestleMania. And it all made sense to me. And the fact that they didn't do that, I'm just like, well, what the hell are we going to do with Bianca, right? Like, what are we going to do? Like, what's Bianca do now? Like, you know, are you going to have her feud with Bayley again and let Bayley beat her? Or like, because there's nobody left. Like, what's the deal? And you know, you're gonna have her babyface, like you're gonna have Becky babyface beat her, or who's there to take her on?
No, got to be somebody though. Like I need to see a reset button here. Okay, and I felt this way about Hugger Bailey too, and look what we got when the Hugger said, we got Drunk Aunt Bailey, which was in my opinion, the greatest iteration of Bailey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
ding dong, hello.
Even better than what we're getting with Damage Control. And we all know I've been uber critical of that. But I just need to see something out of Bianca that's not.
Yeah.
All the time. You know, like I need to see something.
I just think she's over with the little girls.
And that's great. And I'm glad that the little girls got somebody to look up to.
And you know, it was the same thing with Bayley too, right? And I feel like they did the same thing. It was just that like it's a hard thing to shift when those little girls are still showing up. I want the Bianca Belair t-shirt, right? Especially, you know, you get those little girls out there they get the long braid, and that was her entrance, right?
Yo, did you know that little girl that I guess? Well, did you watch the post-Mania conference with Triple H?
No, I didn't.
That little girl that had the spotlight, like her mom passed away that morning.
Holy crap! Really?
Yeah, that's what Triple H said, man. That shit's wild.
Holy crap! That's the saddest thing you could have said to me. Good Lord.
But there she was, strutting her stuff at WrestleMania. And I guess that's the allure to the Bianca Belair character, right? And like, I get that and I understand that and I appreciate that. But as an adult wrestling fan, it's really hard for me. It's really hard for me to look at that and take that seriously.
Yeah,
and I know that's one of those things that's not for us, right?
It's not. And and you're right, because like in your head you want it to make sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like I want this to make sense because this is no longer over with me as an adult, you know, with adult like thought with an adult thought process with 30 years of wrestling fandom, right? This is no longer over with me. Why is this the thing? Why did Asuka not win at WrestleMania? For the love of God. And the answer is those little girls.
Yep.
And it's, it's not for me. It's not for you. It's for those little girls. And it was the same thing with Hugger Bailey. And it's, it's those, there's something to be said about how WWE treats the fans that are children. We were all critical of John Cena during his prime, right?
Yeah.
Why isn't he heel? Why? Because heel John Cena can't go visit 1,000 sick kids every year and, make that the moment of their, it's like, yeah, I'm sick and every day of my life fucking sucks. But I just met John Cena, right?
Yeah, but you can't see me.
Anyway, I'm just saying there's that level to the WWE, and we sort of dismiss,
Man,
there's a lot of.
I just want to see the Kana version of Asuka succeed.
I do too, and I think I just don't know that WrestleMania was the right moment for it. And maybe they have, maybe there's a rematch.
But Asuka doesn't deserve a WrestleMania moment. She hasn't had one yet.
She hasn't. And you know what? You're right. But at the same time, oh God, it's really hard. This is hard to say because I like Asuka.
I mean, she ran into the man at Wrestle Nobody Mania, at Nobody WrestleMania, COVID era, right? She won the title the next night, the Money in the Bank, briefcase, whatever, however that happened. But she ran into fucking Charlotte. She hadn't lost a match in 3+ years, and she lost to Charlotte in what was probably one of the greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history.
Asuka is 0-5 at WrestleMania.
Something's got to give here because Asuka is top notch.
And I don't necessarily think that Asuka's not gonna be the one to beat Bianca for the title, right? I don't think it's entirely possible that Asuka wins at Backlash and wins the title at Backlash. But at WrestleMania, like you just said, that little girl who did the flips with the hair, her mom died that morning. You gonna have that little girl out there and have Bianca lose at WrestleMania? That would be one of those things that everybody.
That's not fair, bub.
But the entire internet wrestling community would have been like, "Can you believe that after this little that would have been the thing?" And they needed to have that feel good little kid moment.
You know what it is? It's Indiana in their WWE FanDuel wrestling betting thing.
Maybe.
Who's those other fucking chooches that are trying to legalize gambling on wrestling? Was that Michigan? Bunch of chooches. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Stupid.
By the way, that's the dumbest shit.
We've come in here and we've talked about the last 3 or 4 weeks since it became a thing. It's still so stupid.
Especially after watching WrestleMania.
Because I would have bet the house on Cody, even though in the very forefront of my mind, I thought for sure Roman Reigns had a large opportunity to win this match, which he in fact did, which Cody didn't finish the story because, we never really finish this story here in WWE.
So I have thoughts on that too, actually. I do think it was up in the air. After thinking about it and going in, I was like, man, you know what? I think I prefer Roman winning at WrestleMania the more I think about it. And hear me out. Here's why. So Cody comes in, immediately goes over Seth Rollins, but gets hurt, right? Comes back after being hurt, shows up, enters number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Had he entered number 1, maybe it's a different take, right? But Rhea entered number 1 and she won the Rumble. But he enters number 30, wins, sort of doesn't really have to deal with Seth because Logan Paul does that. Doesn't kind of gets a little bit of a cakewalk coming in number 30. A little bit.
Cakewalk.
And
Gunther's still in there, but it's cakewalk.
Who's still in there? Yeah, but Gunther wasn't. Yeah. They weren't. Gunther was the Intercontinental title champion, and that was going. There was just it didn't make sense. I think Cody wins. Also, here's the other thing, and I kind of knew this going in. Going in, Michael Cole says 945 days Roman Reigns has been the champion. And in my head, I thought, fuck, that's really close to 1,000 days.
2 months.
Man, they don't want to fuck that up. That's really close to 1,000 days.
2 months.
That's really close to 1,000 days. So, man, they're not going to get that chance again. That's in my head. That's what I'm thinking. They're not going to get that chance again. Because they're not. It's been... what, 35 years? It's been since we were infants, toddlers. I mean, it's been forever.
I mean, I didn't even know what this little hangy down in between my legs was 35 years ago.
Yeah, it's been 35 years. It's been a long time, buddy. Hulk Hogan was the champion when we were like 2 or 3. Yeah, it's been a long champ. It's 35 years.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
They're not. He's not gonna beat Bruno's reign. What's Bruno's reign? 3,000.
Oh, it's like fucking 9 straight years, bro.
Yeah, it's. He's not gonna beat that.
But what if he does beat Bruno's reign?
He'll be 60 years old. I'm just kidding. He won't be 60, but he'll be. He doesn't have that much left in his career to beat Bruno's reign. But I certainly think,
why not take on a lighter load? Only do a couple do the tent pole events.
I think that era has passed. Also, Bruno's reign, while on paper, doesn't actually exist like that. He would very often go to like South America, lose it on Friday, win it back on Monday, fly back to the States, and they didn't count none of that. So I
don't know, bub.
I think in for continuity's sake, I think they're gonna have him go maybe tie or beat Hulk Hogan. And then it's up in the air after that. I didn't believe. Oh, this is the main event. They got. We're gonna find out whether or not FTR is sticking around.
Oh shit, that is tonight.
Yeah, it's on right now.
Well, they probably are now, which gets us into the meat and potatoes here. I mean, obviously, Roman won, beat Cody. It was a fucking fantastic match. Fantastic fucking story. They did a really good job with the limited amount of time they had putting that together. Obviously, the bloodline got involved.
Solo.
What you think about Monday Night Raw, Bob?
It was boring. A lot. So let me put it in different terms. So the internet wrestling community is really mad. I'm not mad. It was just really boring, and it wasn't the worst Raw. A lot of people are like, this is the worst Raw ever. I'm like, no. There's been some really bad Raws. Bad, I guess, is subjective. It was boring. It was really boring, and that's almost a bigger problem than being bad. Because if it's bad, it's like you can like pick on things that are bad, right? Like the Super Mario Brothers movie, the original one, is bad, but it's like bad in a way where it's like, how is this stupid, right? Like you can sort of like
so much fun.
Like, yeah, it's fun, right? It's fun when things are bad and stupid, but when things are boring, it's like. It's like, wow, you wasted my time, right? And it's like, it's not even significant enough. Literally, Seth Rollins walked out to the crowd going, whoa, and then he fucked off and left.
Did you see the video? Did you see the video?
No, I didn't see the video. I mean, I watched it live.
No,
video?
so you didn't see the video on the interwebs. So Rollins comes to the ring, and I was unaware that he just came to the ring and then went to a commercial. And then when he came back from commercial, he just wasn't there.
Yeah, he left.
So during the commercial break, a member of the production team approached the ring and told him that he needed to get the fuck out of the ring because his segment no longer existed. Which led a lot of folks to speculating that old Vinnie Mac was running the show.
Well, I mean, I think that they've confirmed that in fact is what happened. Vince was there and he did some rewrites for the show. There were segments that were cut. There were segments that were altered, including the damage control segment, which I actually mentioned earlier. Bayley was supposed to go out with them. That got cut down for time, and Bayley was not there, and that match lasted no time at all. And I don't know. The whole thing just felt discombobulated and rushed and boring. Really, like I said, nothing bad happened. I don't think. The more that I think about it, like nothing like that happened was I was like, oh, that was terrible. It was just not interesting. Nothing interesting happened. We got who came back? Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Okay. No Randy Orton though. That would have been better. Any NXT call ups? No, nothing like that. Grace. We thought Grayson Waller was coming up. No Grayson Waller. No Braun Breaker. Although they had better Tuesday nights. What's today? Wednesday. Yesterday's NXT was better than Raw. If you, I mean, I don't know. You probably didn't watch. You probably didn't have time. You've been driving around and I
almost died. Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah. So you had to rent a different car.
Yes.
You left Monday. It's Wednesday. You're here. So you drove to Indianapolis and back in 2 days.
Yes.
And
had some meetings. Slept on a bathroom floor. And almost died. Yeah, so we were coming back, and I was just minding my business, driving on 70 East. 2 lanes right there, the Indiana-Ohio border. Yeah, it was just driving along 73 miles an hour, just minding my own business, and I was in the passing lane. Now, I-70 is a 2-lane roadway for the majority of it, except for the part that passes through Dayton, Ohio, and then Columbus, Ohio. Everything's 2 lanes. So this was after Dayton, before Columbus. So I was only like 48 miles into the state of Ohio, and I was passing, and an 18-wheeler just decided he wanted to pass the 18-wheeler in front of him. But I was there.
Yeah.
And I honked a lot, and he just kept coming. So I exited the freeway into the grassy knoll median section at 72 miles an hour, which was like this.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, it was a V, like how it dropped off and then climbed back up. Much to my both surprise and delight, the 2023 Nissan Rogue that I was driving handled itself very, very well.
Well, then it was a blessing because you had a hard time getting that.
Yes.
And you had wanted a luxury sedan.
Yes, I did.
However, you ended up with a very capable all-wheel drive SUV.
Yes.
Mid-sized SUV. And it was able to keep you safe enough so that you can be here with me today.
Yes.
So I actually, honestly, that actually puts, so the Nissan Rogue has been a thing that has been on my radar for something that it's at some point I may
Yeah,
want.
listen, if you're a cruise control guy, stay away from it.
No, I'm not actually.
Okay,
I'm
then you're in
not
good
a
shape.
cruise control guy. I'm the opposite of cruise control guy, actually. Especially new cruise control, because it's like there's all those sensors.
Okay. Yes.
There's all those sensors and shit. Because it's like, hey, you're 8 car lengths away. I'm gonna slow you down so you don't hit that car in front. I'm like, no, let me cruise control into somebody's asshole. Like, just let me control. Give me the control. And then it's like, all right, you know what? If you're not gonna let me control, I'm just gonna put my fucking foot on the gas.
And then the bright lights started going on and off by themselves without me asking it to. No.
I mean, my car does little stupid ass shit like that too, because it's like it's all.
Like, I don't have an old vehicle, okay? Like I drive a 2018 Jeep JK. Like there's not a lot of electronic bells and whistles in that thing, and I love it because of that, right?
I mean, I like my Mazda because I can plug my phone in and it's like I can text anybody I want. I can access all my applications. I just got this little dial I got to click, or I can just hit the button and tell it what to do. And it's like, so you mean you just want me to text this person this? And then like, yep. And it's like, okay.
See, that's it. I get in the Jeep, my phone connects to the radio head unit thingy, and I have wrestling. It's like, I'm great.
Yeah.
But my cruise control is normal, and that's great. My bright lights are normal, and that's great. So
I do like that my brights come on when nobody's around. It's just like,
fuck that.
And I like it.
Because I click this switch second from the bottom.
I mean, I have a switch too that I can push and do it on.
But you don't have this switch.
No, it's a flick.
Yeah, you don't have that. I have this switch, which is extra.
You have a button? Okay, I don't have a button, so
it's extra.
I don't know that I've ever had a button.
News, bro. The reason why I asked you about Monday Night Raw is some news broke Monday morning that WWE had in fact sold to Endeavor, who is the parent company of the UFC, and Dana White and Vince McMahon and Endeavor's primary owner, Ari. I don't remember his last name. It's got too many vowels and consonants in it for me to.
Arya Davari, right? No.
Arya Davari is a AEW agent.
Right.
Who used to be a WWE wrestler. It's Ari something. I don't know. It's got a lot of letters in it. They purchased or merged with WWE, and
it's a merger. It's not a. But it's a merged purchase. Yeah.
So they had talked about the rumor that I had seen was that the new ownership group wanted to see Vince at the helm of creative on Monday night, which is why he was so heavily involved in the show, which is why he forced all those rewrites and some of those things, right? But from that same rumor source that I had read, they were not impressed with how the show ran, and that the belief is they will be in attendance on Friday at SmackDown as well to watch Triple H run a show. And then they will make their decision on what they think things need to look like moving forward.
So I saw that rumor too. My thought is, if I'm being honest, that I don't think Vince is going to run things particularly. I think that what's going to happen, I think that what happened was Vince was still there, right? WrestleMania has been booked. Vince was in LA, right?
Yeah, but
he's been there for a week.
But it's the Raw after WrestleMania where you set the tone for the next 364 days.
Right, but
we fumbled.
Yes and no. I think that Vince got there and was like, pal, while I'm here, let's do this instead. Let's do that instead. Let's do this instead. I think he got in over his head.
So you just think he walked in and laid his dick on the table?
Yes, absolutely.
Which is a terrible fucking move.
It's a terrible move, but that's what it felt like, and that's what it looked like. Now, do I think that Vince is going to travel week in, week out, be there at Raw, be there at SmackDown? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're going to get a random shitty Vince is in the building Raw, once a month. Maybe
That's
we'll get
too much.
It is. But I think we'll get maybe a Raw, we'll get a SmackDown, every now and then. It'll be like, what the fuck happened to this show? Oh, Vince was there.
Why don't he run over to AEW and offer his fucking services over
Oh my
there?
God, that would help, I think, right?
Yeah, right, probably.
That would fucking help. I mean, Vince could book some AEW. That maybe that would get some continuity going there.
Oh,
But
God.
there
you go.
There we go. But I don't see this being a long-term thing. I just don't. I think that it's not. I think when we see Vince, it'll be a very sporadic. Oh, Vince is in the building, everybody. Sometimes Vince is going to let things fly. Sometimes Vince is going to have a chip on his shoulder, especially if it's like a big long-term. Like we might see him like the Raw after SummerSlam. It's like, well, Vince has been in the same town for a week now, and he really wants to he just can't help himself, right? Like there are certain things you just can't help yourself, and it's like you saw everybody run shit on Friday. You were there. You were in the building. You were around. Everybody ran their own shit on Monday, and then they did it again on Tuesday, and then they did it on Friday, and then they did something on Saturday, and then for SummerSlam, there won't be a Sunday, but so you've watched these 4 shows and you've been there biting your you maybe saw 2 shows on Saturday, or maybe there was a stand and deliver, or there was an NXT show that you were around for. And then it gets to Monday and you see the card and you see what's going on and you're like, all right, I gotta say something. Just gotta. And I think that's really what happened. And because that's what it felt like, where it was this guy that had just he hadn't watched the product. He wasn't around. He didn't know what was going on, but he just couldn't help himself, right? And I think we'll see things like that a little bit probably throughout this year. I don't think it's going to be that consistent. I think it's going to be pretty random. And if it only happens the Raw after SummerSlam, I wouldn't be shocked at that either. But I really just don't think it's going to be all the time.
I sure fucking hope not.
I mean, I hope not too. This is me
listen,
being
so I haven't even seen Raw to have an opinion on it, right?
It's just boring. It's just boring. It's weird. Things
just
happen.
For me, the idea of him being back in creative power, with the way that things have been moving, it just climbs in my craw a little bit, you know.
It's just like I said. It's not. Bad is subjective, and then you could watch it and be like, well, that's bad. It's more just boring, and that's really the bigger problem. Not the good, bad. Otherwise, it's just that it's boring, and it's almost
like somebody that's out of touch ran the show.
Yeah, it's like somebody was sick, somebody who wasn't in tune with what was going on decided to step in and fudge it. And
noted.
That's kind of what it felt like. Omos squashed Elias.
Poor Elias.
I mean, but look, why?
Rewind pre-COVID, that fucking guy's over.
Yeah, I mean
rewind to last year, that guy's over.
He was over as Ezekiel.
Right, Ezekiel.
Elias finds a way to get over. Elias is going to be over again. We're going to be in the middle of the summer. Elias is going to be over as fuck.
I just feel bad for the guy, man.
I'm just telling you right now, he's going to be over again in a couple months.
I hope so, because I like him. I do like him. I think he's untapped potential.
Absolutely, and I think his in ring is perfectly passable. I think it's perfectly good. I just don't think that. I think they don't.
I'm sure he has to come up with a new finisher, though.
Yeah, the drift away is stupid.
Well, I mean, it's Crossroads.
He never gets to use it because he loses all the goddamn time.
No, Driftaway is not Crossroads. That was Damian Priest that had to change his.
Yeah.
So
Driftaway is more of a neck breaker. It's like a neck breaker.
Yeah, it's like a perfect plex thing, kind of, right?
But it's more of a neck breaker. Yeah.
So let's talk about the sale, the merger, the acquisition, the business piece.
The business.
$9.3 billion.
That's what they wanted.
And that's what they got.
Yeah.
To merge to create a $22 billion super business.
Yeah.
The big question on WWE fans' minds is this. It's not anything to do with creative or Vince McMahon or Triple H. The underlying question that I continue to see pop up is, what happens with Peacock?
That's yeah. So let me just get this out of the way by just saying that in my opinion, this is almost the best case scenario, really, because this almost assures the maintenance of status quo, right? And this almost assures that like wrestling goes nowhere, like WWE doesn't go in the toilet and lose money. Like this is like, okay, the same people are in charge. It's just now all the same people. It's like they were working with UFC before, sort of in like a kind of a like, well, look,
a very roundabout way.
Yeah, a very roundabout way. And now it's like they're all under the same umbrella. So, as far as like, you know, just it just gives them more power, right? And that's really like, I mean, we just want wrestling to be everywhere and to be able to negotiate contracts, be on TV as much as possible because it's good for us, right?
Yeah.
We just like days when wrestling's not on, I'm like, fuck. And if there's like no pens on or something,
Well, I mean,
like,
what day is that? Because there's wrestling
Thursday.
on
Thursday. Wrestling's not on.
Yeah, there's wrestling on Thursday.
What's on Thursday? TNA. Impact. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. But yeah,
I mean, you can't say that there's not wrestling on.
You're right. You're right.
On.
Impact is on Wednesday. There's not really wrestling on Saturdays or Sundays most of the time.
Well, no, but I mean that's what
that's what
the network's for.
What I'm saying is that it keeps everything. You know, let's say they sell it. They would have sold it to the. Oh my God! Say they sell it to fucking Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I don't think that was going to happen. Especially just this past week, the Crown Prince comes out and says, "I'm no longer in the business of pleasing the United States."
That's different, but fuck him. Anyway,
hey man, I'm just saying.
That's a mistake. Look, that's a mistake from him. I'm just saying. The CIA has toppled. The CIA has toppled people much more powerful than he.
Bro, I just like pull the fucking string and you just.
The CIA has toppled people much more.
There's a snake in my boot.
Oh my God! The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia found
Woody
dead in a brothel.
Woody over here, fucking.
Oh, how did that happen?
Reach for the sky.
Reach for the sky. Yeah. Anyway,
we gotta put you in a yellow plaid shirt and a brown cowboy hat. You look just like fucking Woody in Toy Story.
Woody doesn't have a beard as good as mine.
No, he's got that little curly Q thing.
Yeah, that little thing on his chin there. He's got a much more pronounced chin than I, though. My chin would have to come to like here.
So here's the argument, though, right? Because like a lot of people are worried about this piece of business from a fan perspective because, you know, we've become accustomed to, for the better part of the last 8-9 years of paying $10 a month and having access to all of
$5 a month now.
Well, we still pay 10 because I don't like commercials. But you know, you've to pay $10 a month to have access to all of this premium content plus the premium live events. Haha, it's good shit, pal. does that business model look different under an Endeavor umbrella? I mean, after all, like let's put this into perspective real quick, and I'm gonna just get so I can give you
You're right.
a little bit more to chew on here. Okay. Pre-Endeavor UFC, which was a Zuffa product, which were those gentlemen were in the business of casinos, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were a classic pay-per-view model. They had a weekly show. The Ultimate Fighter, obviously. They had a TV deal that put fight cards on Spike TV. It put fight cards on other networks, that were considered to be larger than, but there was still a presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were traditional pay-per-view model where, like, the Brock Lesnar's and the John Jones and the Frank Mears and the Shogun, who is like, those guys lived. George St. Pierre. But then Endeavor took over and UFC moved to an ESPN Plus exclusive, which when that happened, I was like, sweet. So I'm going to pay $6 a month for ESPN Plus, and I'm going to get access to all of these UFC pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I got access to them, but I still had to pay $44.95 every month to watch the UFC. Does that same thing trickle into Peacock?
I don't think so, because I don't think that the reach is there for WWE. I think that WWE I thought about that too, and it, at worst, I think that it goes back to, you're right, that like 45, like no, you can, and maybe I think maybe it does for the big four, right? So probably for WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and
Survivor Series.
Man,
I wouldn't fucking pay a dime for Survivor
I'd say
Series.
I wouldn't pay for Survivor Series, but
okay. So then let's go further down the rabbit hole. WrestleMania being 2 nights, do we have to pay for both nights, or do we just pay one flat fee and we get to go?
I think it's a bigger fee. I think you pay one flat fee, but I think it's probably, if everything else is $39.99.
But what if I only want to watch Saturday night and because Sunday doesn't interest me? Or what if I only want to watch Sunday because Saturday doesn't interest me?
I don't think you get I'm sure they don't give you the option. It's probably $59.99, $69.99 or something, and you get both nights.
I don't like that.
I don't even look. I'm not a fan either, but I would say, if anything, if it changes at all, that's the first change, is that you have to pay for the big ones, like fucking Backlash and all them other shits. I think those just remain premium live events, because otherwise those buy rates are gonna just, like, nobody's gonna watch that shit.
Or do you think that Endeavor is of the sound body and mind that, hey, like, this model's worked really, really fucking good for like the last 10 years. I don't want to change a fucking thing.
I think we'll see. I mean, I think I would hope that that's there.
So you have no answers to my questions.
No. So no, I have no answers. I'm concerned as well. I think if they try it, they first try it next year with WrestleMania. Like, you have to actually buy WrestleMania. I think if they're going to try it, they're going to try it that way. I don't think we see a change for 12 months. I think that
I wish I could be that optimistic.
I think if we see a change, the first change we see is with WrestleMania 40.
I wish I could be that optimistic. I think
I hear you.
I think that SummerSlam is going to be that hard line for me.
I mean, maybe. Look, they could try it, and you might be right. And we might be talking about this here in July. Like, can you fucking believe they want us to pay for it? And then we're going to do it. Like the stupid idiots that we are, we're going to decide, all right, let's just pool it and we'll all come together. And that's, I think that's maybe, maybe that's where we are with it too, is that, like, we all pool the money and we come together because it's like, well,
so, like, the problem with that is, right, Bub, like, I'm not 14 years old anymore.
No, and
it's like,
I'm not, and we're not.
I don't know,
But-
man.
But does it force us to hang out again? Does it force us to hang out as opposed to watching it individually, and as opposed to watching it individually and just texting each other while it's going on, or like throwing each other up on like a live screen? Like, can you believe this shit? Like, does it make us all drive and be together? It's good and bad in the same way, because I do think that at some point they're going to try it, right? There's absolutely there's no fiber of my being that thinks that they're just going to be like, you know what? Let's just keep going with this $5 every month thing. There's no fiber of my being that believes they're going to be okay with that and not try to charge me more money to watch something. Do I think it's going to be like Backlash or one of those like mid-tier kind of like, I could almost...
Or do they just continue to bank on the overseas pay-per-view buys? Because the pay-per-views are Peacock exclusives.
Mhm.
So like those folks overseas that still pay their $9.99 a month for WWE Network across the fucking pond, right, still have to pay a monthly fee for those pay-per-views, despite the fact that they are WWE Network subscribers. Now that model has changed overseas, with WWE as we know it pre-purchase. I don't even want to call it a purchase. It's an acquisition.
It's a merger. It's not even a purchase. It's a everybody.
Well,
Hey,
all I know is Vince McMahon is a controlling shareholder, but he is no longer listed as the owner of WWE.
But he's the chairman of the board,
executive chairman of the board, and majority shareholder. Yes. But he is not the owner. Just as Nick Khan is no longer the CEO of WWE, he's just back to being a president.
Yeah, he's a president. Yeah. I don't know. I think time will tell. They're gonna want more money from us. At some point they're gonna ask, and the ask is gonna be, well, this is a big deal. And if it's at SummerSlam, maybe they'll make SummerSlam 2 nights. And they'll be like, if you pay us $40, you get commercial free SummerSlam.
I already get that.
Nights. I know, we do, but it's like
$9.
But otherwise,
once.
But otherwise, you don't get it. And I think they're gonna dip their toe in the water. I don't know if it'll be this SummerSlam. I don't know if it'll be WrestleMania next year. They're going to dip their toe in the water, and they're going to try. And they're going to see what happens, and they're going to look at the numbers. They're going to look at the analytics, and they're going to say, is this something that we believe we can maintain moving forward? And there will either be backlash from the fans, and nobody will buy it, and it'll be like, oh, this SummerSlam made less money than the last 5 SummerSlams. And then they'll forget about it for a little bit. Right? They'll do other things. There'll be more commercials. They'll look for money elsewhere, because they're absolutely looking for more money. Like, they want more money. Like, that's not like $9 billion. Like, there's a lot. There's a 20. Like, they want this to be a $50 billion company in 10 years. They don't. Yeah. They're not looking to be like, oh, 22 billion. We're good. We are set. Let's just roll with it. That's not what's happening. They're going to look to double their investment.
What if we get the network back, but it includes UFC content and premium lives, for like $20 a month?
I mean, that could be. Truthfully, if that's the case, if it also includes those UFC events, which are. That's a good value, truthfully, if it's both, and that's certainly something I'd be willing to pay for, I think.
Because think about it from this perspective, right? It's like, if you're Endeavor and you look at the current pay-per-view model, and it's like, okay, well, I get 700,000 buys for a general pay-per-view at $50. if I'm lucky. But then I get like a once in a lifetime generational guy like John Jones, who steps back into the octagon for the first time in like 5 years. And I think they did something like 1.75 million buys.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen all the time. So like it's your buy rate's kind of a crapshoot.
Well,
I
and they
feel
also
like
don't have every month a $50 buy pay-per-view either. There's what?
yes,
6
they
a year?
do.
They do?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, see, I watch like 3 a year, so
Yeah.
I pay for like 3. So it's just whatever ends up peaking.
So
So
just humor me here, because we just crossed the 2-hour threshold here, but like put yourself in that meeting. What if Ari, the owner of Endeavor, was like, "Hey Vince, what do you bring to the table?" And Vince is like, "Huh, pal, we're got a whole fucking streaming network. Picture it. We'll just drop you into the algorithm. We'll bring it back to the US. $20 a month. WWE, UFC. We could call it the Endeavor Network." Oh, that's good shit.
I mean, $20 a month, especially if they bring back to what the WWE Network was and has, that brings back in that sort of raunchier content that they have since nixed. But and then
I forgot about the great castration of the Peacock Exchange.
And then it's it's additionally like all that backlog of UFC as well. Plus, whatever, all that, like, God, you could watch WWE footage for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And not watch all of it.
Yes.
And die and still have not seen, like, from now until the end of your life, however many
there's still
hours
shit on Peacock I haven't watched.
Huh?
There's still shit on Peacock I haven't watched.
There's a zillion things that it's almost infinite content at this point. And then you add 25 years of UFC pay-per-views and fights and just to on top of that. Oh my God. $20 a month is all you're asking for infinite fight content,
How many like Peacock subscribers do you think there are?
5-10 million?
20 million. I just looked. Q4, 20 million. All right. How many of those do you think is there for WWE?
10 at least. They had 10 million subscribers to the WWE Network at some point. They worldwide. They had that was a thing. That before that's what they were touting, 10 million subscribers before it merged with Peacock.
So let's
say 12.
Let me just humor you here. Okay. So let's just say that everybody's at the $5 threshold, right? 20 million Peacock subscribers times $5 a month is $100 million a month.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply that by 12. Okay, you got $1.2 billion.
Yeah, every year.
Just in subscribers.
Just in subscribers. That has nothing to do with television. That has nothing to do with Hulu. That has nothing, which has the weekly programming on it. That's nothing to do. That's nothing to do with live events. Nothing to do with merch. Nothing like that's just $1.2 billion. That's just off the top that's just off the top every year. Like here's $1 billion, 1.2 billion every year.
You take that same 20 million subscribers and you multiply that by 20. Okay. And that's $400 million
a month.
$4.8 billion a year.
Yeah.
Just in subscribers.
Yeah. And that has nothing to do with sponsors, TV, Hulu, commercials, whatever else, anything else, merchandise, fucking sponsorships, all that shit.
It's
Nothing.
sickening, bro.
It's infinite money. It's more money than like, and not.
But
It has
one
nothing,
month is more money than anybody needs in a lifetime.
and it's also more money than because then you bring in YouTube too. We think about like YouTube. Just on top of the WWE rakes in more money on YouTube than they made like monthly on YouTube than they made like in any single year in the 90s when they were hot as shit. They're getting billions and billions of YouTube views every month. They're raking in millions of dollars monthly on YouTube for doing nothing other than posting clips they're already getting paid for.
Hey, bud, I'm just saying.
Imagine if they did that with UFC too, because that's really so. UFC has the pay-per-view buys and yada 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 whatever, but like WWE is like those tentacles are in everything. Like they've got zillions of subscribers on Twitter, which is now being monetized, zillions of subscribers on Instagram, which is partially monetized as well. I don't know how hard Facebook is now because I don't think Facebook. I think you have to pay Facebook, but still, like Facebook stuff, everything that just those internet tendrils that WWE has. Imagine if they did that also with UFC, because UFC doesn't have that kind of reach. Like UFC,
I mean, they do. They have a really good social media presence, but they don't have a WWE level social media presence.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, to sell them short on their social media presence is just an injustice to what
I'm just saying. You're right, but it's not the same level, right? WWE is like has more YouTube presence than the NBA, the MLB, the NFL combined.
I have a question for you. Why do you think that is? Oh, let me answer it. What's your kid play on every time you're in the car?
I mean, YouTube. It's the kids. Yeah. I mean, you just put that all together and it's like my kids don't watch WWE on YouTube, but at the same time, it's like I do. Like if I miss a show, that's how I catch up. It's like, oh, let's just watch the clips. Here they are.
So I think to put a bow on the Endeavor acquisition, I'm cool. Like, let's not fuck with the model. All right. Like, I understand that, like, we want to make some more money. Listen, you want $15 a month out of me for Peacock? Okay. Okay. I mean, even Netflix raises their prices. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd tell you this: Netflix is like $1.99 away from me just being like,
I already canceled it.
Okay.
Netflix is Netflix to me is like, what's coming on right now? Are there Stranger Things or The Witcher coming?
Do you know why I keep Netflix?
No idea.
Stand-up specials.
I buy Netflix. So what I do with Netflix is I probably pay for Netflix one month out of the year, every year. And I'll watch the stand-ups and I'll watch whatever. I will watch Netflix whenever something comes out that I want to see, like whether it's Stranger Things or The Witcher or whatever. Wait, and I let it build up. And it's always over the summer. And it's like, all right, it's July. There's 2 shows I want to watch and 3 stand-up specials. I'll buy you this month. And I just buy it and then I cancel it immediately. I watch it for 30 days. I watch all the stuff I want to watch and then I cancel it. Because that's what Netflix has become to me. But I still pay for God. I might be the only person that pays for Paramount Plus. No, you pay for that? No? Okay. I do because it has stuff on it that I like.
But I know somebody that does, and he just decided to not join us for like the 5th week in a row.
Yeah. Well, I'm paying for it now because my kids liked it and my son wanted to watch a bunch of things on it. So I'm paying for it now, but it'll probably get canceled here sooner rather than later because I watched a couple of things on it that I wanted to see, so all good now. I do love me some HBO though. I pretty much can always find stuff to watch on HBO, so I still pay for that.
I just keep Hulu because that's where I watch wrestling at.
Hulu's tremendous. Hulu and Disney Plus to me are like I get them all. Verizon pays for all that whole Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus. Like Hulu or my Verizon pays for all that for me. But that to me is like the bread and butter of TV. Like that's everything I want to watch. And I just that's like 99% of when I'm watching TV, that's what it is, other than like the few channels that I have that are other things that, like, you know, but still, yeah, Hulu is the best. But hey, we killed it. Even
yeah, sure did.
We gotta do match of the week. We gotta do that.
Derek just texted me and said, "Hey, I'm heading home."
We're done. Just tell him we're done.
Like, we're done, bud.
10:41.
Yeah. Tom, match of the week.
My match of the week was absolutely Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. It was. I don't know that I went. It might be that I went into it without the highest of expectations, but I wanted it to be great. And it delivered and over-delivered on every account. And for me, it was the one that I kept thinking about. Right, especially like even up to the end where like Charlotte's sitting up at the top of the ramp there with just a smile on her face, and I don't know if that was meant to be captured and meant to be shown to the crowd, but to me it was really a passing of the torch. I feel like they laid it all out there. It was, you know, they knew they had been kind of kicked out of the main event. It was a co-main event sort of thing.
Don't you air quote that.
You know, but I'm just saying it was they'd kind of been pushed aside a little bit, and they went out there to steal the show. And for me, they really did it. And it was, I'm not the only person that thinks this. And it was really for me that match, the match of the evening. You knew the tag title match was going to be fantastic, but this was like sort of, to me, a kind of like, you know, what are we going to get? Is it going to be overbooked? Is it going to be, you know, just, is it going to get cut short? What's the, you know, what am I expecting here? And it just, it went above and beyond my expectations. And so, really liked that. I was really happy. I was really invested in this match, really like a lot. And the fact that it went off as well as it did. And I'm really excited about what comes out of it now, as well. Like I think that Rhea with the title has the most potential for Fridays, and I'm excited to watch on Friday and see what happens. You know, I'm excited to see what happens, you know, with her and with Judgment Day and who her next opponent's going to be, and all that. It's like that to me is what's compelling about wrestling, is the, like, you know, I've watched sort of the finale, right? But now it's like, oh, on Friday, it's all brand new. What happens next? And that's kind of what I'm most excited to see. So for me, that's the main event. That's the best match of the week. Just both, you know, for its future potential and just for how fucking good it was. So that's it.
My match of the week was Ric Flair's Hall of Fame inductment speech.
God, that was
a great Muda.
That was something, wasn't it?
Bro, what the fuck was Rick talking about?
Rick was hammered, yeah.
I hope.
Whew. He's the best Japanese wrestler I ever wrestled. What the fuck are you talking about, Rick? Holy shit. Like, we didn't talk much about the Hall of Fame, but holy shit, Rick, what was going on?
Like, somebody's got to be mad about that, right?
I mean, if the Great Muta understood English, he'd be mad.
No, speak great English.
He got the.
Hey, listen, I'm happy for Muta. He
Me
absolutely
too.
deserves to be recognized.
I was shocked that he was on the induction, and I loved Ray's Great Muta mask going into the that was we.
He had one on Sunday too.
Yeah, I saw there were two different masks. It was tremendous. Yeah, no, I mean the Great Muta is basically like the first modern wrestler, right? Like he invented or perfected all the moves that all the modern wrestlers do, but he did them first and better. So that was tremendous. Ray's induction was tremendous.
All while keeping his gimmick too. Like he's like their greatest ever, right? And nobody's ever seen him in public without his paint or his mask on.
Never.
So he just gets to live a quiet life in Japan. Like how awesome is that?
It's pretty tremendous, and yeah, good for him. Also, shout out to Stacy Keibler, who Adam and I were talking about Stacy. Well, it was like Stacy Keibler is like S tier, and somehow in whatever 30, she's aged 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say 20. So yeah,
just God, is she still stunning after all this time? And
great.
And she had children.
Fantastic, bro. Like,
just
shout out to Stacy Keibler.
From all from all everybody that's ever met her, she's apparently the nicest human to this day that anybody knows. So it's nice to see people like that get the recognition that they deserve. And Stacy Keibler had a tremendous career, and then just went away and was like, I'm just gonna be a mom and have a family. I was super famous for whatever 15 years or however long it was, and just now, and she was on Dancing with the Stars and almost won, and just now she's just a mom and living her best life. And now you're
she was like the first mainstream celebrity to come out of WWE, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and good for her, because she seems like you don't get to have that longevity and have everybody talk about how nice you are and how great you are for that long without actually being that person, right? Like the skeletons come out of the closet if they exist. They clearly don't exist for her. She's the Brendan Fraser or the Keanu Reeves of that sort of the upstart of like the famous women in wrestling. Like she everybody that's ever talked about it is like, oh my god, I love Stacy Keibler. What a joy she is to be around and to work with. If Mick Foley thinks you're a joy to be around and to work, like that's it. You win. Hands up. So
Mick's looking rough, bro. Whew.
The fact that Mick's still around and can walk and stand on his own is yeah, you're not kidding.
Man, we lost Bushwhacker Butch this week too.
We lost Butch. I didn't even know he was sick. But
I had heard like maybe 2 weeks ago that I was watching something, listening to something that he like had to go to the hospital or something. But I didn't, and then boom, he gone.
I mean, he's got to be he had to have been in his 70s.
I believe so. I think he was 79.
Yeah, I mean, he had to be. Man, loved the Bushwhackers as a kid.
Yeah, hell yeah. Whenever it was acceptable to lick a child.
I'm sad that wasn't me.
Big ups to Bushwhacker Butch, man. We appreciate you.
Love
the But my match of the week was absolutely the Intercontinental Championship match between Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. To me, that match stole the weekend.
That was their intention.
It was just everything that I thought it could be. Tom talked about it earlier. The build to it was perfect. The match was perfect. Just the ability to take that much punishment for 30 plus minutes, just beating the ever loving fuck out of each other.
Was it that long? Because
Yeah.
I was so enthralled. It felt like it went by like that. I was so enthralled.
So great. In my eyes, all three of those guys have gained some serious stock. Not that like I ever look down on what they offer, but man, it's just so much fun. Like if we could get that style, that hard hitting, just snug style, just a little bit more, man.
And it's not a dangerous style. It's just a style where you probably shouldn't work the next night, right?
It's just it's so perfect.
Nobody's coming out of that with a broken neck.
They're hitting hard enough, just hard enough for you to be like, this is a fucking fight. Yeah. And there's just something about that. But man, what a great fucking match.
It's not hard to suspend your disbelief.
I would have thought, and I said this exactly what you just said. I thought that it would have been really hard to see Gunther win this, with Roman Reigns retaining. That to me was the next logical step. So I don't know in my mind where this is going to go now. I know that there's probably still some unfinished business with the bloodline piece. That we're probably going to get. Roman said it himself at the post WrestleMania press conference. Hey, we're just getting started. We're in like the third inning of this game. So I'm really intrigued to see where this all goes moving forward.
I'm interested. I'm actually more interested now, especially. I mean, the one thing I think to come out of the Raw after WrestleMania that has piqued my interest is that I am certainly interested to see Cody versus Brock Lesnar. I don't know if that happens at Backlash.
I hope not.
But I am.
I think that's got SummerSlam legs on it.
I mean, maybe, but I am particularly interested to see. That to me is almost a more intriguing matchup, right? Because Roman is sort of,
they have my attention.
Yeah, like Roman's a good and I get that, but Brock's sort of the legacy major boss of WWE, right?
They have my attention.
Yeah, Brock's the end game of WWE. Like you almost have to beat Brock to be. Like, oh, you haven't beaten
even in consideration.
Yeah,
to be in the ring with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, like you haven't beaten Brock Lesnar. Like, why would you think that you could beat Roman Reigns? And I think
I think 2 years ago you saying that would have pissed me off.
It might have, but I just think that so many things have changed. And if they do it right, look, they could fuck this up, right? This could.
This could be. Could this be Malachi Black AEW catastrophic like that?
That's not Tommy End. That's Malachi Black. Yeah, that it could be that. Like it could be just fucking catastrophically stupid. And I could look back and be like, oh, I wish I was wrong. Or I wish they would have done this better. But like you said, they have my attention. To put Cody versus Brock. And then if you have Cody beat Brock, even if Brock beats Cody, and then like it happens again at at SummerSlam, like let's say there's a mid thing, and something.
Give me SummerSlam. Give me SummerSlam.
That's a long time to build it.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I'm just saying that you get Cody over on Brock, and then you get Cody over on Roman. I think that certainly, a year from now, that means a lot more, and there's more to do with Cody than there would have been otherwise. I think Cody goes over on Roman on WrestleMania. I think we look at this now, and I think, you look at Monday, like let's say Cody goes over on Roman, and Roman fucks off and is on vacation and is not on Monday. how much worse is that show? Like
Yo,
that show
I haven't
was,
seen it yet, but I mean,
so Roman's in 3 big segments. Like that's the whole, like that's the main story of the Raw after WrestleMania.
oh, that sounds like Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's the main. So let's say Roman's not there, and it's like Cody comes out, and it's like, "Yep, I'm the champ," and Randy Orton comes out, or Matt Riddle comes out, and is like, "Hey, bro, I want to fight you, yo," and that's the main event. And it's stupid, and it's like, "Oh, Cody went over." And the whole thing was, oh man, he had a hard fought battle against Roman, and look, he managed to beat Matt Riddle on the night after. It's less interesting than Brock F5ing him on some steel steps in the middle of the ring after turning on him in the middle.
I'm intrigued, bud. I'm intrigued with the decision making here, and I'm going to be really, really intrigued to see what they do with Brock and Cody. I think that this has some legs on it if you play your cards right.
Let's just hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I think that this might be a pivotal thing to get Cody to that level to where it's acceptable for him to beat Roman Reigns, right? And like, you want to make the argument that he's been through a lot of adversity with the Hell in the Cell and this and that and the other, but like that's real life adversity. That's not like storyline adversity. And like, I mean, you used it to your advantage, but I don't know if it's there yet.
No, I agree, and I think that yeah, I mean they could fuck it up though.
I mean, I'm very much of the belief that the writing was on the wall that Cody was going to win the fucking championship, right? Like, but I'm the one that was sitting here. Hey, man, Roman can absolutely win this fucking match.
No, and I don't think anybody disagreed with you. I think that could have been, and especially, I really think to me, the nail in the coffin kind of was as Roman's coming out, and Michael Cole says for 945 days. I was like, fuck, they are 2 months out from Roman being a champ for 1,000 days. And I don't know what day that's going to fall, but it'll probably fall on like a Friday.
And like the 2 belts are such a part of Roman's presentation. We're never going to see this new championship as long as Roman's still the champion.
No. And I that's the other thing that I think too, is that I don't know that you're going to have Roman lose both of them at the same time either.
That is the belief moving forward, that they are going to have one title.
I think either there'll be one title, or Roman will have to drop the WWE title only.
No, the word on the street is they're retiring the Universal Championship.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that having 2 titles makes sense a little bit, but
I don't. Not in today's day and age. WWE's never done it successfully. I mean, they've had glimmers where it was successful, but can't look back and be like, oh, Brock Lesnar was the undisputed champion, who was carrying the big gold? Well, nobody, because Lesnar was the undisputed. That was a fucking terrible analogy. But like, when the Undertaker, when the Undertaker was carrying the big gold, who was the WWE champion?
Cena, Orton, Edge.
No, because Edge was feuding with the Undertaker over the big gold.
That's right. You're right. Edge was feuding with Undertaker.
So like, I don't know.
I mean, Cena and Orton, they tossed that back and forth a few times.
Yeah. I don't know. I like one title. I'm big on the fact that they've elevated the 2 mid-card titles. And they've elevated the tag team titles. I think that the world title needs to be won, the tag titles need to be won, and fucking just leave the mid card titles as the 1B titles on their respective shows, and continue to elevate those and make those mean something.
I mean, that's what worked in the 80s too. We didn't see Hulk Hogan every show in the 80s. In fact, as a matter of fact, we didn't see Hulk Hogan very much particularly as when we were kids, because we were watching Saturday mornings and we were watching the show that Bobby the Brain hosted. That was like the recap on like Sunday afternoons. We didn't see Hulk Hogan matches very much, and Hulk Hogan didn't wrestle a lot of matches that weren't pay-per-view matches. So I think they're trying to sort of fall back to that a little bit, where you're just not going to see the champion unless it's time to see the champion.
No, I mean I'm into that. I don't know. I'm probably in the minority, but I'm into that, especially because the other two are starting to become so much more meaningful. Because I look at somebody like a Gunther that's ready to challenge Roman Reigns. I look at the United States Championship with Austin Theory holding it, and I'm like, hey man, a lot of great guys have held that. Bret Hart held that championship. Like, John Cena made that championship mean something in WWE at least, right? And Seth Rollins helped elevate it to where it's at now, and like Bobby Lashley, and you look at it now, Austin Theory's carrying it, and I'm like, that guy's a fucking winner. He just hasn't put it all together yet.
Not quite. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Derek's trying to call me again.
I wouldn't hate to see I wouldn't hate to see, if they're going to do that, I wouldn't hate to see a third mid-card title. Not necessarily like a 24/7 or a hardcore championship, but like something like the European Championship. Wouldn't hate that, but that's just my opinion.
I'd be all right. I think maybe I'd be all right with that. I don't know.
I mean, if they unify, they'd have to unify the Universal and the WWE and the tag team, and then to add another singles title, I think would be fine, because they're getting rid of two, but you're adding one sort of third tier.
I think it'll be all right. I don't know. A lot of interesting things are going to be coming down the pipes here soon. I already know it. I see it. I feel it. I just hope that I'm right.
See, the internet wrestling community thinks that the world is ending and that it's all over. Vince is back in charge again, but I don't think that's the case either. I think the next year is an oyster. I think there was a boring Raw that got out of hand, but I think some of that had to do with just like people hadn't been home for a week, and maybe Triple H just sent a bunch of people home and let a shit show happen.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that to be true either. So there's that. Anyways, if you're still hanging out with us, please hit the like button. We really appreciate that. Even consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_Fall WC. That's ONE. Hey man, we're generally here every Monday 8:30. Sometimes shit happens and we're here on Wednesday. Just kind of how life works. But we did a really good job, bub. No Derek, huh? He's tried to call me.
2.5 hours. If Derek would have been here, it would have been 6.5 hours long, or it'd have been like 90 minutes, and we'd be like, all right, forget it, we're done.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet that it would have been the 6.5, because he's tried to call me like 3 times in the last 20 minutes. So yeah. Well, we did miss Derek on this WrestleMania recap. Obviously WWE has been sold, lots to look forward to and or be concerned about, depending on what side of that coin you live on.
I'll be optimistic till I see more. If it sucks, we can tell. We got plenty of time to talk about how much it sucks. But one boring show does not equal end of the world yet.
I love your blind optimism.
Yet. Ask me next week.
So, with all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast. Hey, what about Nigel McGuinness maybe making it to AEW? Is that a thing?
Yeah, he's there. He's signed. They might